Hello and welcome to Warsash Maritime School and a presentation on life as an engineering officer. My name is Sam Samuels. I am a senior lecturer within the school and I will be delivering today's presentation about life as an engineer. So, looking at the benefits of following a merchant navy career. One of the things that catches people's eye is the fact that you can get paid to study for your first certification. It's an incredible opportunity. No need to find fees for accommodation or for the training that will be supplied by your sponsoring company. When you complete the training, the likelihood of you getting a job as a graduate is going to be rapidly increased. I'll show later on why we get good salary options, and that's what will excite you. I will also point out the advantages of how you can travel the world and see various bits and pieces that perhaps your friends and family would never get to see. And last and by no means least, we're going to talk about the fact you'll be paid while you're on holiday, which is even better than being a lecturer. But in order to be an engineer, you need to have several attributes. The first one is you need to have an inquiring mind. You don't have to have done any engineering, but you must have an interest. You must be able to have reasoning capabilities, be able to make decisions. And you're going to have to work under pressure, a lot of pressure at times, because when you're on a ship and things go wrong, they're going to look at the engineers to get them out of the difficulty. Even from a very early age, you're going to be expected to delegate and to accept authority. You'll be guiding people from different countries, different nationalities, and you will be required to be assertive and respectful in how you guide people to do their jobs. But the one thing that you are going to find is going to be essential is a sense of humour. And you will see that as we move through, there are some times when it's going to be difficult, but if you can have a smile and a laugh, you find it will help. Yes, you do need to be technically minded. If you haven't got a mind that works on technical aspects, you will struggle. You're going to have to resolve problems. You're going to have to work quickly to work out how to keep things going, and you're going to have to be creative. And finally, one of the other attributes you're going to have is to be able to either work alone or sometimes you're going to have to work as a complex member of a team. Within the Merchant Navy as an engineer, there are two branches to take. You could become a marine engineering officer, which is going to work with the nuts and bolts, the mechanical aspects of engineering, with a small amount of electrical stuff added on to get you through the day-to-day life. Or my colleague will give another presentation on the Marine Electrical Technical Officer, the ETO as we call them. They're the people who look at the specialised equipment, the bridge equipment, the controls equipment, and in today's market, the sort of equipment that you're going to find on super yachts around the world. Now, it's difficult to imagine that when you wake up every day, that you're going to have an awful lot to worry about. You can see on the slide there are lots of bits of equipment that you'll be responsible for. And I like to face it this way. When you wake up in the morning and you turn the light on in your bedroom, the first thing you do, where does that electricity come from? Well, when you're at shore or in your bedroom, you don't worry about it. But when you're on board ship, it's you as an engineer, you're going to be responsible for that. Then when you go into the bathroom and you have a shower, you clean your teeth. Where does water come from? As an engineer, you're going to produce it. And even the water that goes down the sink, even the waste from your toilets, which we don't want to think about, but you will find you'll become an expert on looking after sewage treatment. It's yours. And then as you move around the ship, you're going to go to the galley, you're going to get food. Who looks after the refrigeration, the heating? You're going to need lots of fresh water. We can't take it all with us, so you're going to have to produce it. You're going to have to make some steam because we use steam for laundry and heating. We're going to need air, lots of air. For use with compressed air tools, some of the pneumatic equipment, automatic doors. And then you may have to work with hydraulic systems when we operate steering gear, cranes, even the bow doors all require steering gear. I mentioned sewage treatment plants, but at the other end we're going to have incinerators, fridges, and even, dare we think about it, lifeboats and their winches. And finally, when it all goes horribly wrong and there's a fire or a flood, there is no emergency service when you're sat in the middle of the ocean. It's down to you. As engineers, we will train you. We will train you to fight fires and how to keep the vessels afloat. I mentioned the ETO. Just very briefly, I'm going to touch on the electrical technical officer, just so you get some idea. Years ago, in the days of early communications, for example, on the Titanic, they had a guy who was a radio operator. The equipment was pretty ropey, it was pretty crude, and as a result, the radio operator was the person who ended up maintaining it. The navigation systems developed, and at first we allowed the engineers to carry on and deal with it. It was fairly simple, it was fairly basic when it came to it. But in today's modern world with high voltage, lots of control systems, we realised that we needed someone specialised. So if your expertise lies in electronics, then you may want to think about coming through the Marine Electrotechnical Officer route. And as you can see there, I won't go into great detail, but the ETOs have a vast array of equipment to look after. For example, the safety operational of the vessel, lighting, navigation systems, all the generation and power. And you can imagine on something like a cruise ship where you've got 4,000 or 5,000 people, we're using an awful lot of electricity. The modern day equipment, we don't leave people in the machinery spaces. Everything is controlled from afar. So we need the complex control systems for those. As I said, bridge and radar equipment is going to be massive. And as we work through the list, you could go to something like a super yacht where the owner is interested in only having his Wi-Fi or his Netflix to be working when he's at sea. Guess who's going to fix that? The electrotechnical officer. And even down to the end of it sometimes, even such things as changing a lamp or a bulb or even a wiring a plug. You've got to have the aptitude to do all of it. There are various methods of entry. The primary one we're looking at today is a 3-year cadetship. You can come in on 3 routes. You can come in on the H&D route, which requires a minimum of 4 GCSEs, grade 9 to 4. You're definitely going to need a maths, English and science with a physical science content. If you don't have good maths or a good science, you will struggle. The foundation degree requires a minimum of 48 UCAS points. Again, we're looking for a numerate subject plus your GCSEs. And finally, we've recently started the honour degree programme, which allows you to go all the way through the cadetship and come out with your honours degree. For that, you are going to require 104 UCAS tariff points, but also you're going to have that maths and that science. Do you notice a current theme? Maths, science. In fact, as an engineer, you need greater maths and science than a deck officer. You can come in if you already have a degree, and that will bring you through on a fast track route. But we can discuss that on a separate occasion if you want to talk about it. You can come from outside industries, such as the Royal Navy, the Army, the RAF, providing your qualifications line you up. Again, we can discuss outside. And we do have some people who come from within the industry, ratings who have got themselves academically qualified, and they can come through and they too can do the cadetship. As I said, the honours degree cadetship, the BEng Marine Engineering and Marine Electrical and Electronics degree cadetship started in 2021. We are the only nautical college currently running this programme. You will do exactly the same as the H&D and the FD programmes. You will conduct a phase in Warsash Maritime School. You will go to sea for between 4 and 5 months. You will return to Warsash Maritime School, spend a further 4 to 5 months, maybe 6 months at Warsash. You will go to sea for your second and final phase, and after again 4 to 5 months you will return to Warsash Maritime School, where you can complete your BEng programme. As I said, you're going to require between 104 and 120 UCAS points, and it will take you from level 4 to a level 6. This will serve you well later on in your career if you wish to turn your attentions to greater qualifications within the industry. For example, if you want to be a surveyor or you want to take the role as a marine superintendent. For some people, it's a bit of a game changer, but you will be required to wear uniform. Your companies will provide you with a uniform and we will police it for them. You are going to have to attend a full set of lectures. People find it very difficult, but you will be in the classroom for 3 days a week, 2 days in the workshop. The day starts at 9, finishes at 5, and you have an hour for lunch. We're going to put you into the workshops for over 450 hours of skill training. And as part of the program, you're going to have to take numerous exams. You're going to have to take phase tests. You're going to have to take end tests, and you will have to produce assignments, not only within the college, but when you go to sea. Not only are you going to have to undertake this, but you're also going to have to manage your own time, your own social life. You're going to have to decide when you go to bed. You're going to have to decide when you get up. You're going to have to shop. You're going to have to cook. You're going to have to make sure you're clean and turned out. You're going to have to study. But there's also going to be time for some fun as well, we hope. So the bigger issue, what vessels are there in the big world? If you've done no research, I'm going to go through a few of them now just so you get a bit of an idea for them. You may find yourself having the opportunity to work on oil tankers, bulk carriers, or in the right-hand picture there, a liquid natural gas vessel. You may have seen in the news, but the LNG vessels are sitting off the coast of Britain at the moment, waiting to land gas when we start running out during the cold snatch. They are extremely complex. You will train hard to work on those vessels, but because you require greater training, they will pay you greater money. The oil tanker, again, very interesting. However, they have slightly smaller crews, and the lifestyle is into a port, top up, sail halfway across the world, discharge cargo, top up and return back. Do not expect to see glorious places of the world if you work on an oil tanker. We do get excited because they do have large 2-strokes diesel engines, slow speed, running somewhere between 40 and 105 revolutions per minute. But it's scary. You go to sea with just one engine. So you can see why the engineer is so important. Again, just to mention it, the electronic specialist will be there. Certainly on vessels like LNG, where we need to look after the explosive environments, we make sure that we keep the standards high so that we don't have any accidents. And if you look at the news, there's never been an accident in recent history of an LNG vessel having an issue. Cruise ships. We all love a cruise ship. But remember, you are not going on a cruise. If you look below the blue part on that line, that is where the engineer is going to live. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. Engineers are going to be topping up with fuel, topping up with water, discharging sewage, fixing the things that have broken. And so whilst all the passengers are sunning themselves and going on the day trips, I'm afraid to say, don't hold your breath. You're going to be working. But I'll explain why it's not such a problem later on. When it comes to propulsion, these modern cruise ships have diesel-electric propulsion. Some of them have large 4-stroke diesel engines up to 16 megawatts driving electrical generators which provide electrical power propulsion. They provide power for the ship and for the hotel services. The electrotechnical officer and the mechanical engineers will have to work closely together because you will be trying to keep these engines going 24 hours a day. The complex control systems will be monitored carefully by the ETO and by the engineer. It just shows to you that one day you could be sorting out the main engines and the next day you could be working on the sauna or even fixing the washing machines, whether you be an ETO or a mechanical engineer. Things that you may see sitting around the coast. P&O ferries made it into the news recently. We still have cadets going on to P&O ferries, and I will say they are very well looked after and they're still receiving training. So from their point of view, they're very good. But the P&O ferry is exciting. They're again run by 4-stroke diesel engines. This time though, we throw in a gearbox or a controllable pitch propeller. We're going to teach you all about these bits and pieces. They may be smaller engines for generation, but again, you will learn all the bits and pieces. But again, I make the point, the ferries, you will not be popping into France every couple of days. I know somebody who travelled backwards and forward on the ferry, and for his sea phase, he went to France to 150 times and he never went to shore once. He worked long hours. And here we are, a bit of curiosity. How on earth does this float? Don't ask me, I haven't got a clue. Of course I know. We're going to train you to work out how these float. Again, they look vast, they look busy, and they are. As an engineer, you will be responsible for looking after some of the biggest engines in the world. For example, in the picture there, the Emma Maersk has a 14-cylinder two-stroke diesel engine with a piston just under 1 metre in diameter. That's the size of a dustbin. That's moving up and down between 70 and 108 revolutions per minute. 14 cylinders. The engine has got 3 platforms to get from the bottom to the top. It's absolutely incredible. And in fact, the Emma Maersk, their shaft is so long that the propeller, which is driven from the middle part of the ship to the back end, would actually twist if we didn't put electrical motors so that it turns at exactly the same speed as the engine to get it turning. It's absolutely incredible engineering, and you'll be excited to find yourself on a vessel like that. If you fancy something with a little bit more military association, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, they will support the Royal Navy in peace and in war, but you will also have seen them in current times helping in disaster relief, going all around the world, helping people, rescuing people off the beaches. They are in support of the Royal Navy. You will interchange with the Royal Navy, so if you like the pomp and ceremony that goes with the uniform, then by all means investigate the Royal Fleet Auxiliary. And if you like being seasick, no, I lie. Offshore support vessels, they're going to operate in the North Sea and other areas like that. North Sea in March, it doesn't suit me, but for some cadets, they love it. It's absolutely brilliant. Again, small vessels, smaller crews, lots of engineering. But again, sometimes the programme just going out to an oil rig and back is sometimes boring for a cadet. But don't worry about it, because although you're going to work hard for 8 to 10 weeks, you're then going to get 8 to 10 weeks off and paid. What a bonus. And the one that everybody seems to think is the great desire in the world is to work on super yachts. They look very glamorous, but trust me, when owners are paying big money, they expect big results. They're hard work. The owner's not worried about his 4-stroke engine. The owner is worried about whether he can receive Wi-Fi, whether he can get his Netflix, his Sky Sport. But as an engineer, he'll want to go now. And if you've got a problem, it is for you to resolve the issue very quickly. Yes, you will get paid, well paid, but it is hard work. So if you do decide to come to our world-class training facilities at St Mary's campus, you can see there that we've had it purpose-built. We've got a seamanship centre for those people who require seamanship. As an engineer, you will do a very small amount of seamanship, but enough to make you safe. We do have a simulator, primarily driven for deck officers, but we do have one which the engineers can use, and we will use them as part of our training for you to get conversant with life in the engine control room. We also have a training facility in Warsash Village. There, I tell people it's one of the greatest facilities we've got. We're allowed to drown the students and set fire to them. But that's not really true. We actually call it a fire school and sea survival. But it's, again, one of the things that you're going to have to deal with when you go to sea. It broadens your excitement in your church of understanding. Our engineering facilities are superb. As you can see at the top left of the picture there, that is one of our welding facilities with one of my top quality trained technician instructors. They all come from industry. These guys have worked there for many years. We've got 35 lathes, of which you will spend a lot of time producing components. Not only will you work in the welding shop and you will do lathe work, we will send you in to start stripping components apart. Hopefully we can get you to put them back together again. And whether you're an engineer or an electrical technical officer, you will do some electrics. You're going to have to do some fault finding, and we will make you safe so that when you go to sea and start working on electrical equipment, you can do it in a safe manner. There again is a picture of our simulator. You can see at the top left, in fact, one of our cadets now, I know him very well, he's actually gone to work with the RFA now. But Alex is there on the simulator. And again, you can see in his hand he's got a PlayStation control. It's not always like that at sea, but so much of our technology is now run from control rooms where you need your computer savviness. On the right-hand side other control panels that we get you to strip apart and we get you to work on them. They will all go live at some point, so we make sure they work and we make sure that you're standing well back when you turn the power on. And finally, the C phase. As I said, you will do an 8-month C service. We normally give the company about 10 months to try and achieve that, because they'll try and send you from one ship to another. You may be lucky. You may go on one ship and then transfer to another. You may spend all your sea time on one particular vessel. However, whether you're an ETO or whether you're a mechanical engineer, you will operate the main auxiliary machinery. We will give you a training record book to make sure you achieve all the tasks that the Merchant Navy Training Board expect you to achieve. You will be involved in some of the maintenance, some of the overhauls and some of the repairs. But please don't forget, you're starting at the bottom of the ladder, so you may end up doing some of the cleaning, some of the mundane tasks of going to dip tanks. But you may even get put in the responsibility taking part in a dry docking of the vessel, and in that part you may end up having to work and take charge of people when they go down onto the dock bottom. We're a dedicated team. We're a dedicated team. Many of us are seafarers. Those of us who are academics have come from other establishments to come and teach the cadets. If you work hard, we will support you to get your HND, your foundation degree, or your BEng in marine engineering. The thing that is going to count more than anything else, at the end of the 3 years, you will sit in front of an examiner from the Maritime Coast Guard Agency, and they will make you sit an oral exam. It's like a driving test, but it's going to last about 45 minutes when they ask you about everything that you've learnt about life at sea, from safety through to operation through to management. And as such, you will then end up with what we call a certificate of competence, a COC. And at that point then, you have license to go out and operate as an engineer or as an electrical technical officer. I mentioned money. These are some of the figures. I'm not saying they're spot on, but as you can see, a newly qualified engineering technical officer, £25,000 to £28,000. Probably in today's market, looking closer to £30,000 to £32,000. As a second engineer who's been to sea, has come back after 18 months and has undertaken his seconds qualification, you could earn anywhere between £32,000 to £50,000. Moving on up, a chief engineer could be earning anywhere between £50,000 and £110,000. You could go and work on super yachts, and I can give you examples of people who've been working on super yachts for now less than 3 years, who were earning €9,000 for working 10 weeks a year. And the thing that really makes it far more interesting, if you are out the country for 6 months of the year, you will not have to pay income tax. And finally, a lot of people say it's a young person's game. It may be. Doesn't matter whether you be a male or a female, life will change. You may have family, you may have commitments at home, you may not enjoy the life at sea. You may grow up a bit and decide you want to do other things. And within the university and with other shore-based environments, there are a vast array of options that you can move into. Because you may have your foundation degree or your HND, you will already have the points which will move you up so you can do these courses in far shorter time. And if you really are bored and you don't like it, you could always become a lecturer. So why us? Well, if you look around the world, people will know the word Warsash. They will talk about it. We are one of the world's leading maritime universities. We do provide exceptional academic support and pastoral care. Every cadet will get a tutorial every week. If you're under 18, you will be watched over by one of our senior lecturers, namely me, and we will make sure that you stay on the straight and narrow. If you've got problems, we allow you to come and talk to us. It's not school, it's a grown-up world, and we're going to talk to you like a grown-up. We ensure that we get excellent academic results and attainment rates. Just to give you an example, our current pass rate of people passing their MCA certificate of competency oral exam on the first occasion is over 96%. The reason why the others fail is because they don't come and talk to us. They think they can do it and they failed as a result. We've got some superb facilities, and we are one of the few universities that offer the maritime career progression courses so that you can do your cadetship, you can move on, you can do your second, you can do your chiefs, and you can do the top-up degrees to move you into other parts of the industry. And guess what? We're located in Southampton, close to the shipping port, so our links to the sea are very intimate. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much for paying attention. Please come to us on one of our real open days. We'll give you a similar presentation, but doing it in front of a camera is often a bit stilted, but we'll have a few laughs. You can come and have a look at our facilities. You can come and stroke the staff and see what we're made of, and we will actually show you what it's really like in the real world. We look forward to welcoming you. Thank you very much.